Mm-hmm. Hmm. Tracy Marie, hello. Theo, hello. Cookies and cream ice cream for lunch. Yeehaw. How y'all doing? I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. I think they left. Okay. Beyonda, hello. Dale B, hello. What's going on, woman? What I'm wanting to find out is what's been happening. Tuesday's better than Monday, but not as good as Wednesday. Yes, I'll be right back. Gotta let the dog out. Alright. Working from home. Happy you came on to provide some distraction. Awesome. I'm not sure how much of a distraction I'm going to be. Not sure. Had some stuff going on here at home. A friend of mine called me from Florida. Long-time friend. Long-time friend. And one of her kids is up here. So, thought he may needed a place to stay, but apparently not. I don't know what's going on with that. How much you're gonna be or can be. I can be very distracting. I can probably talk about some shit, but I've decided, I don't know, some of the stuff if I really, really wanted to, I could, but not worth it. Um, ouch, I had my CAT scan today, so yay. I tell you. Doctor's appointments, they wear me out. They're just so inconvenient. You know? The only thing I want from doctors is if I'm feeling really super sick, give me something to make me better. And that's it. These appointments are getting on my nerves. They make me have anxiety attacks. Too closed in. Really? You think it is? Really? They're not too closed in for me. Hell, you wouldn't have liked the CAT scan. I told the lady, I said, don't worry, I'm not afraid of the tube. I said if it was long enough, I'd probably go to sleep. Tia said I was up all night looking at the sun. Then it dawned on me. Ah. Oh god, that's funny. Did it dawn on you? Oh. Tomorrow I got the don't like MRI either. I don't have a problem with MRI either. I don't have problems like that. My dad does. He's claustrophobic, we found out. That's why he doesn't like to fly and shit. Always, instead of driving, he wanted to fly everywhere. I mean, instead of flying, he wanted to drive everywhere. So, come to find out, he's claustrophobic. He can't get in there. And I'm like, not really a tube. Well, one is, one isn't. But, yeah, my dad can't do them. They can't even. They tried giving him that medication to put him out, and it didn't even work. So, you know. I have no idea what's going on. Let's see what else has been going on. You got pops. You got pops in the dock? No, not this week. This was before. This was before. My dad. He's had. I can't tell you how many cancer scares. They've had to take, skin cancer off his head and nose and other parts of his body. He's had 12 inches of his colon taken out, and it's scary because both of his parents died from cancer. So even though I get checked, which, let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday, so Friday I get my mammogram, and I go into the Doppler lab. Tomorrow I've got my podiatrist. I gotta go to the podiatrist, and I've got 80 billion labs to do, so I'm gonna be starving by tomorrow evening because you gotta fast. But my dad, when he was getting checked for his colon, well, they wanted to know what was going on first until they did the colonoscopy. No, it wasn't the colon, it was something else. It was something else they were checking him for, and he had to go for an MRI. He couldn't do it. He could not do it. He's doing fine so far. But then again, who knows? Like I said, my dad doesn't answer the phone because he can't hear it. Because he won't put his damn hearing aids in. And it's a good thing he watches TV down in the den. Because he can blare that, and it's like, it doesn't bother people because the house is big enough. And I'm like, let him watch it down there. Mom has her TV upstairs in her office, so yeah. So, but it's like I told Mom, I can't come over, Mom. I can't take the chance. I'll never fight off. Now Cameron can fight it off, Cheryl can fight it off. I can't fight it. Can't fight it, so and she doesn't want me to take a chance either. So, but as far as I know, he's doing fine. As far as I know. far as I know. So knock on wood there. Mom seems to be doing fine too. Knock on wood there. I wish she wasn't asymptomatic though. I'd make her come over here. I'd be like, Dad, pack her up and bring her ass over here. So she can use one of my laptops. Well, she can use this one, and I'll use my old one that runs super duper slow and had issues, but at least it'll fire up and do something. But I had to take my shoes off, sorry. At least it'll fire up and do something. Probably have to download a bunch of stuff and try to clean stuff out and see if I can't get it to work. But she can use this one. But I don't know if she'd actually do it. What do you think, Deonda? Think she'll actually do it? Connie, are you here? Are you here, Connie? I don't know if you guys heard, but Trump has finally given the go-ahead for the transition team to start briefing Biden. And he held a press conference today to let people know that stock market hit 30,000. I think that was the Dow Jones. And then he left. I'm like, okay. And Trump said it's because him and his response to COVID. And I was like, dude, the stocks are going up because you're leaving. That's all that was. Let's see. Oh, but the greatest thing is with Trump's legal team, they fired a member because this female attorney, I forget her name, she's beyond bat crap crazy. And her conspiracy thing, I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And she's saying there's thousands of people involved with this conspiracy, and she's going to expose them all this week. So Trump's team kind of like dropped her like a hot potato. She said, I'm still going to fight. And I'm seriously thinking that she's actually going to find Martians on Mars. Lady Witch, hello. Pal, yeah, it was Pal. So she will eventually find Martians on Mars. And then she'll find Venetians on Venus next. Which, by the way, you guys, speaking of Venus, most people are looking out back end of the solar system where, Mars, and then you got Saturn, White Pig Fence, hello. Then you got, Mars, and then Saturn and Pluto. Is it a planet? Is it not a planet? Who knows? Is it a dwarf planet? Poor Pluto's been in our solar system forever. I want what she's on. Hell yeah. But nobody ever looks towards the sun. And, there's only 2 planets between us and the sun. And so the planet towards the sun that's next to us is Venus. Well, they're finding that Venus, there has been some sort of, and I have to go back and double check it. So this is not We're going to find out if this is a conspiracy thing, or if this is just uh, one of those hopeful things, or if this is something that's really absolutely um, could be true. But with Venus, they have found something that might be going on. Now, they haven't said from what I read, and it was a very brief article. I got to really dig into it. It was very brief, just a couple paragraphs, but it basically saying that I agree with that. Lady Witch said, just let Pluto be a planet. I know. We need to ask Pluto their pronouns. What did Pluto ever do to anyone? That's what I'm saying. Let Pluto just be there and be what we think it is. Mickey's dog. You know. But there is something going on with Venus. Now, it has been said before that it is possible. Mickey's. It is possible that we could, in all probability, and I forget how long it would take to get to Venus. I forget how many hours. That they could actually go to Venus and build a subterranean civilization there, and that there's definitely enough moisture for water and stuff on Venus. Definitely enough. It is a little warm. That not gonna lie. Let's face it. They're the second rock from the sun. And their days are shorter and everything too, but there's some sort of activity going on with Venus. Now, they're not saying exactly, they didn't say exactly what, it's just that they've noticed a change. So, who knows? Venus is starting to crop up in the space narrative. I don't know if because even with space, there's conspiracy theories and things like that, and there's all kinds of theories about all kinds of things going on. It's because we don't know space. We really don't know. We need to learn our own solar system before we go outside the solar system. But then again, it is interesting to realize what is out there beyond our solar system. It's just the thing with space is so interesting right now. Like, did you guys see the article on the hollow asteroid? It really is true. Space, the final frontier. Exactly, and that frontier, it would never ever be finished. You know. There is, I forget where this asteroid is. I think this asteroid is within our solar system, and they found that it is hollow. Silver Star, hello. So this asteroid is hollow. So I found that to be interesting as hell. Now there was something that was going on with Jupiter, and it didn't have anything to do with Jupiter's moons. But it had to do with the red spot on Jupiter, and apparently its size is changing. Um, so I want to get brushed up on that. Let's see, what else have I been learning about the space. Of course, you guys know that Mars, they're doing a lot of research on Mars, and it seems like with Mars, you don't know what to believe with Mars. You really, really don't. Um, you want to believe what NASA says, but then we know that the that kind of governmental shit, they hold back. And then you got another part where there are astronomers and scientists who are on their own doing shit. And they're like, you guys, there's something more there than what the government's telling us. And then people like me think, and it's like, okay, I can believe that. I don't know. Sugar, hello. Sugar, na 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 na. Oh, honey, honey. Well, anyway. So, because I want to believe, but there's another side of me is like, okay, you got to step back and think. And so, but what I read, and Dale or anybody really, correct me if I am wrong. Please say hello to Sugar Mama. Hello, Sugar Mama. Oh, honey, honey, na 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 na. Your son is my candy girl. The Archies will be stuck in my head now. But, like I said, Dale, if you've heard, or if anybody has heard, that they think they have found proof of an underground system. That tickled her. Well, I'm glad, and I'm glad she must be doing better. So they think they have proof of an underground system. Doc Furtifer, hello. What does that say? Mangia Shagreski? So what the system is, I don't know. I don't know if what they're saying is, one side is saying that it supported life. How? I don't know. And then another one is saying that it's not anything like some people are saying. They're saying more of the microbe type of thing. So I'm not sure. But one thing I do know is that they have Silva Star Sugar, I miss your uploads. You are the karaoke queen after all. Oh yeah. So I'm not sure, but one thing I do know is that they do have proof that Mars held water. And if there's anything to life, that is the first thing you need is water. Lady Witch, totally working on it, Doc. Doc doesn't even say hello. He just comes in, talks, and leaves. He doesn't talk to me anymore or nothing. I've missed him. So the space space stuff is really starting to and if you look for it, of course, it's not going to make the news or anything, especially right now, but is starting to be active. What it all means, I don't know. Who knows? But wouldn't that be something if they actually started in our lifetime to find um, proof that life existed, um, on other planets and stuff, and which I totally believe, 100% believe, did. And when uh, you hear people say, and that Christy Alvarez, hello, good afternoon, Les. I'm just getting in. Awesome, awesome. I'm hoping everybody's having a great day. Suga's with his mom, so that makes me happy. Mama Sugar, your baby Sugar he was just so beside himself. Lady Witches, I personally don't believe it's past tense. Well, it just, see, we're getting in my area now. That's where, you have two sides of the coin there. Now, when it comes to Mars, I totally believed at one time it was inhabited. And like I was getting ready to say, you hear people saying that we are transplants from Mars, that we came from Mars, that we are all Martians. But we came in the form, some say agree with that, and they say, well, we came in the form of amoebas, and that somehow there was water here, and that we were all in the ocean, and we flopped onto the shores as fish and grew legs and this. I don't believe in that. I really, honestly, I do not believe in that, but there are people that do believe it, you know because we have parts of our body that nowadays we just don't need or use. Like, we have no use for our appendix, but it's there. And it's on the, like, from your, and it's right along where, when the intestinal system leaves your stomach, like on my body, and it would start to your right side, and then it goes up and all that. Right there, just before it goes up, there's your appendix is still bigger than your finger, and it just hangs there. But that thing can kill you if it gets infected, as we all know. It can kill you if it bursts. Tonsils. We have no use for our tonsils. They're just there. But yet, if they give you a lot of problems, they can give you tons of problems. You have to take them out. But there's no use for them anymore. So we really don't know. Like I said, I do not believe we came from amoebas and this and that, in the sense that where they meet it, like we were made in a pea soup pond. No, I don't. So some people believe we were transplanted, but in form of microbes. Other people believe that we were transplanted literally, in our form. And at the time, I guess the Neanderthal and all that, it's the caveman form. Of course, you got people who just don't believe it at all. But there's so much proof that NASA has tried to dissuade, because there's too many relics, there's too many objects that can be seen from the probe, space probe, and not to mention, I want to know exactly what rover over there on Mars is looking at, because they don't release everything. I want to know. You know, I know it takes soil samples and stuff like that, and that's how they proved that there was water on Mars. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It tells you in the Bible that there was water in space. It tells you. You can't have life without water. So, but interesting enough, there's no water on the moon. But I want to know where they get the man in the moon theory. And that's another long thing there. But on Mars, you guys have probably have seen it. Is that there is pictures of what is considered a face. And we're not talking something that's only like 10 feet. No, these things are humongous. To be seen and pictured from space. But when you do the actual measurements, they're humongous. So there are pictures of a human face on Mars that's built, that's made. There is also, get this is what's interesting. On Mars, there is a replica of the pyramids in Egypt. The Great Pyramid, the three that lines up with the Orion's Belt. There is the same thing on Mars. But interesting enough is that, of course, they're larger. And the pyramid on Mars shows you have the four sides, but the sides are split in half to where there makes so-called 8 panels. If you understand. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying, please let me know. Or if you have something to add, please say it. Here on Earth, the Great Pyramid does the same thing, only at a certain time of year. And you can see it's a slight pitch, but you can see with the shadows. And it was found by accident by a pilot. And he went over it twice and took pictures. That on the Great Pyramid here on Earth, you can see the slight pitch. And you can see where each of the four sides have that slight pitch to make it look like 2 panels on each 4 sides, making 8 panels. Now, my thing is that enough? NASA debunks that there's a pyramid, and I'm like, you've got the 3 pyramids there, dude. I mean, you're not the only one taking pictures, dude. You're not that shit gets tapped into all this freaking time. Or people will get them before they're doctored. Supposedly, okay? Supposedly. Now, also on Mars, there's a Sphinx. Now, here on Earth, we have our Sphinx. We still don't know the mystery of the Sphinx. There is doors to the Sphinx, inside the Sphinx, that the one door they can't open. They can get down to a certain point inside the Sphinx from the outside, and then there's a door, another door that they can't open, and they don't know how to open it, which is totally fascinating. I started to do a story on that one night, and it's just so long, but that is fascinating. So I'm wondering if the Sphinx on Mars is like our Sphinx here. Does it hold secrets? Because, humans are nosy. By instinct, we're nosy. We want to know. We want to learn. I don't care who you are. You can be somebody like Joe Schmo on the street will say, who has no interest in, you think, in anything, and you find one subject and boom, they're in on it. The thing I found most interesting about these images on Mars is that if you take where the pyramids are on Mars and its surrounding geographical markers, and you put it against, like, say this is Mars and this is the Earth with the pyramids and all its geographical markings that are around it, and if you do this, they line up. They match perfectly. That's the interesting thing that I find in it. So what does that mean? And if that means that there was life on Mars before, and we're the product of that, no matter how our species got here, does that destroy people's faith? Would that destroy Christianity? Would that destroy everything we thought we ever knew? Would it totally destroy it? Or would it enhance it? Are we as a society, as the world, 7 billion people, are we all ready to learn and possibly accept that we truly are not alone, or that we truly have ancestors that were on another planet? Now, if I'm reading Lady Witch right, where she said, I personally don't believe it's past tense, if she's saying what I personally feel she's saying, because I don't know exactly what she meant, but my thing is, as far as, and I'm assuming Lady Witch is saying, aliens, I think it would enhance it. Nowhere does it say that when the universe was created, we were the only creations. Exactly. 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 I think that most people wouldn't realize the implications of it, of what that means. If, you know, they 100% will say, yeah, there was life on Mars. Um, I think a lot of people um, wouldn't understand. Now, I understand it as like Lady Witch. That proves what I've said all along. Was that we're not alone. Humans are not alone. Lady Witch, I think I lost everyone. I think it would enhance it too. You give me a lot to think about this afternoon, Lady. Oh, good. I would like people to think, Lady Witch. Not to mention that we don't know where the universe ends, or if it does. It's pretty arrogant to assume that we are the only life around. Exactly. Exactly. So, can we as a society handle that we ain't alone? I'm just listening. I'm getting the kids ready for bed. Okay. Okay, Silva. I just don't want to bore anyone. I really don't. But there is one place where it was written that there was life on Mars and it was destroyed. And this was written over 2,000 years ago. And it says there was. And so you know so those who are faithful, how would they react to that? This is super interesting. I'm just making cookies, so I can't comment a whole lot, but keep it going. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I just don't want to bore anyone, that's all. um but it was written, and it didn't dawn on me about maybe 5 years ago, 8 years ago, that that's what I was reading. And it tells you it's probably the most boring of part. This is probably one of the most boring parts of the book, but you guys, it was written in the Bible. Um, they walked among the rocks of the universe, which is, our planets out throughout the universe, and that um, Satan had dominion. Lucifer had dominion over it, and that there was another planet that was between Mars and I forget the next planet. Can't think at the moment. But there was another planet. Yeah. That was next to Mars, and God destroyed it. Now we know that within our own solar system that we have these asteroids that scientists don't know where they came from. They're just in our solar system. Well, it's been in a book that was written over 2,000 years ago. It's been written. Job is probably, and it's in the book of Job. It's probably one of the most boring reads, but if you can get through it, more power to you. I had to force my way through that one, but it tells you. So right there says in the Bible that we are not alone, folks. We're not alone. I don't believe we're alone. I just call it something else. People call them aliens. I call them something else. But we're not alone. You know? Does that... Am I a bad Christian for saying that? No. Because it's already written. Of course, like I said, after studying so long, this is one of those things after you study and study, it's things click. And so you just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it. There was a rabbi who once said, if science and religion doesn't match, then one of them is lying. And so either humans are fudging or not understanding science, or humans are fudging and not understanding the word. I don't want to say religion because it's not a religion, it's the word. And so, they can coexist. It's just that people like concrete proof on everything. It has to be in black and white. Got to be shoved in their face. And even if you do that, people will say, well, I still don't believe it. And I'm like, it's 2 inches from your face. Come on now. But I find it totally fascinating, though. Just taking it without going deep into this, and this, because there's 20 million roads we can go down right now with what I'm saying. But just taking everything on its face value with the pictures and what they have found on the surface of Mars, and the fact that if you line up the pyramids and with all the structures around it, they all match. And they're all spaced, they're mirror images of each other. Lady Witch, I think most religion is written in the symbolic language of the times. Religion, really, honestly, you have different sects, which is different sex, SECTS. And God and Jesus never said they were a religion. It's the word. And so you read from the word, and the heads of the churches interpret, because us lay people are not smart enough to do it. And that is the truth. That's how they felt. They never encouraged somebody to actually read the whole daggone Bible themselves. I encourage it 100%, because I'm not a religion, and neither is, God and Jesus. But even if you want to take the religious part out of it, just on the simple surface of it alone, it's more than fascinating. because I find it fascinating and interesting and exciting that, yeah, they finally found proof that Mars contained water. You know, that there are monolithic structures on Mars. There may still be aliens on Mars that are hidden. For real. Mars is a good hiding spot. You know? With things that people, amateur astronomists, or yeah, astronomists. You have to forgive me. I'm tired. Amateur astronomists. They've got powerful, super powerful telescopes of their own. Some have miniatures of what you find in an observatory. So they're looking too. That's why you have so many lay people naming, like Halley's Comet. That's named after Halley. You know, so it hasn't always been just an astronomist who finds these things. You got plenty of amateurs out there, and some amateurs, they could probably teach college classes because they know their shit. That's why I don't believe it's past tense. We just haven't found them yet. And I agree with Lady Witch. You were thinking what I was thinking you were. I think they exist on more than what people think, on more planets than what people think. I know the moon, our moon, has been the subject of great scrutiny over the years. And the fact you have the dark side of the moon, which never sees sunlight because it doesn't revolve. It circulates just like we do, but it and it moves when we move around the sun, but the ball that the moon is does not move. It faces the earth, and the dark side always stays dark. And there's many stories about the dark side of the moon. It doesn't rotate. Yeah, it doesn't rotate. It doesn't revolve. Yeah. And when you listen to the old transmissions from the astronauts, and they're being released all the time, I don't know why the United States just doesn't come right out and say, "All right, y'all, there's aliens. We've been talking to them," because they have the transmissions from these astronauts saying we're freaking out here. Not those exact words. There's something moving outside. When if you notice, when Apollo 11, when they came back, I believe it was Apollo 11, lady. You can double check me on that. When they came back from landing on the moon, if you notice, not one of them were the same afterwards. Not a one. Their demeanor had changed. They weren't a totally 180-degree turn, but none of them were the same. And Buzz Aldrin was actually affected the most. Now, I don't know, because they said Buzz has let cat out of the bag. um, that they saw shit up there and they can't explain it and can't really describe it. And they were, of course, debriefed and sworn to secrecy and blah, blah, blah. They had to keep their mouth shut. Buzz said that we had to. And I can see that happening because that was their duty. That was their job and duty. But Buzz, like I said, I don't know if he saw the most because he seemed to be the one that was most affected. Now, I have a feeling that Buzz has some sort of notes somewhere and wrote this shit down, and after he's dead, it'll come out. Just like with Admiral Byrd about the Hollow Earth, they have Admiral Byrd's, the son found Admiral Byrd's notebook, you know, and said, this is what happened. I have a feeling something might happen like that with Buzz Aldrin. But he said that, like I said, that he can't describe what he saw. He just knew that at a certain point, that they were walking, that they saw something moving. And this is what I know. I know there have been people saying that there's an underground bunker and this and that. I'm not going to go that far because it is Buzz Aldrin. Neil, I don't think ever talked about it. I don't think he ever talked about it. Now that I'm thinking, I can't remember anything that I came across. He may have, but I have come across. He has never said anything about it. But Bud said he saw something moving. They tried to tell NASA, and they were ordered back. Lip gloss kitten, hello. Weird that you are talking about this because I just watched The Crown and the episode was called Moon Dust, and it was all about the moon landing. I met Buzz a few times. Really, was he nice? Or was he drunk? I heard he was nice, but I don't know. That's fascinating, lip gloss. Awesome. You know, he went to Antarctica a few years back, and he got sick, and he had to go to, they had to fly him to New Zealand. He got sick. He got really sick. This was a few years ago. He was nice, but my mama said he was drunk. Yeah, I heard that he has been drinking a lot. And I think it's because of what he saw. Because he started drinking shortly after that. You know? So when they were given orders, they had to do what they were told. Which, it only makes sense because, you know, you work for the government. They have a sense of duty. It's not like today with kids. I don't like being told what to do. Screw that shit, blah, blah, blah. That's not how it was back then in the day. It's not how it was when I was young. It's not how it was when my parents definitely. They had respect and everything. I didn't raise the boys that way or nothing, so they never took up them traits. But it's very interesting. Very interesting what's going on in space. And it's not funny. The thing of it is, of course, none of this is hitting the news. None of this. Well, the pyramid stuff and everything on Mars, that's already hit the news. That's nothing really new or whatever. But this, like with this changing on Venus, um, it didn't. What I read on it didn't go into deep detail. But I did a thing one night on alien conspiracies and stuff, and they had that one guy in Congress. I can't remember his name right offhand, but apparently he was a Venetian. He was from Venus, and apparently he was involved with our government for 20 years. And he never grew older. He stayed the same, but he was involved during the Truman time. So when Truman came to presidency, that's when this alien from Venus. And Truman was excited, but apparently this Venetian said he wanted to meet the president, and he told the president. And who was Truman's vice president? Was it Nixon? I think Nixon was Truman's vice president. Well, anyway, he wanted to meet the president, and because the president Truman, not Truman, Eisenhower, duh, Eisenhower, that Eisenhower believed. He believed in aliens and this and that. Here he is meeting one, and he's like, "Oh, nice to meet you, great, this and that, blah blah blah." And this Venetian says, "I can cure all your sickness. I can make it to where there is no hunger, and there was nobody would be homeless, this and that." And Eisenhower said, "I just want your weapons. What kind of weapons do you have?" And this Venetian said, "I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to give them to you." And so Eisenhower just pretty much let him do what he wanted to do, gave him a place to stay, and guy was involved with our government for 20 years. I can't remember his name. Cannot remember his name. And what Lady Witch says figures? Yeah, that I can't remember the name. I do know that this Venetian, he was friends with a reporter till the day this reporter died. They were friends since the day they met. And he chose this reporter because he said, "You were one of the more honest ones, and I can trust you." So, but when the reporter died, the guy that wrote all about him, his son took over. And the Venetian would just appear. It's not like they got on the phone and called. He would just appear. And so his son took over. No, that was wanted was the weapons. Yeah, yeah. It's sad because the Venetian warned him. We can bring peace to this world. There would be no need for any of what's going on, and no need for money or anything else. And Eisenhower, being an army man and a general, he wanted the secrets to their weapons. So, the Venetian told this reporter and this reporter's son about the different species of aliens, um, what they were like, and things like that. And of he warned of um, the species of aliens that were not the reptiles. The reptiles came from them. They were more, oh God, what is this species called? They were the most ruthless and most evil of all the aliens. And this Venetian warned Eisenhower, one day they're coming. Um, how true that is, I don't know. I know the reptile species is from this main species. They created this reptile species, but I cannot remember what the alpha species is right offhand. I would tell you guys the websites to go to, but YouTube, when they did their funky thing, there was 3 websites, and they took them down. Literally, their channel does not exist and has not existed for over a year. YouTube really screwed a lot of people, and so I know one of the YouTube channels, um, there was a guy who has some sort of podcasting service. He does things outside of YouTube, of course, and they joined with him, and I don't even remember the website on that. So you can go find, well, at least one of them. But yeah, they were really interesting channels, and YouTube really screwed them. Really screwed the pooch on that. For real. But the thing with our moon, also I want to point out, apparently, I'm not sure which mission it was to the moon, but maybe it was 13, Apollo 13, where they had to eject part of their craft, and it landed. It slammed against the moon. Barbara Schultz, hello. That it slammed against the moon, and they swore they heard a hollow bell sound. They swore they heard it. So I don't know. A buddy of mine was threatened with losing his channel if he kept talking about the subject of aliens. Barbara Schultz said yes. So you remember that, Barbara. Why are they wanting to get rid of channels that talk about the aliens and stuff? I don't. Are they worried? Oh, so yeah, she does. Are they worried? What the hell are they worried about? Look, you have people who are not going to believe that there could be aliens at all. Lots of theories, yes. And then you have some who believes, but they want proof. And then you got those that believe wholeheartedly. But all in all, I don't think it's going to freak our society out because we've been conditioned to it forever. Forever. I mean, kids were conditioned way back, like with E.T. and all that, the movies. You had Marvin the Martian cartoon. I will shoot you with my annihilator. Um, we've been conditioned. And I would venture to say most people be like, oh, well, okay, there's aliens, big woo. I'm going to tell you something, though. If I saw a spaceship flying over my house, I'm shitting my pants. I ain't joking. It's bad enough I've seen them a few times off in the distance a little bit. I don't want flying over my house and I look up and I see its underbelly with this big shining light coming at me. No, I will shit my pants. I ain't gonna lie. The main thing I remember is an article stating Eisenhower signed a treaty with the aliens. Yes, there was a treaty signed. But lo and behold, you can't trust them little gray aliens. Can't trust them worth shit. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit. They broke that sumbitch. The treaty was that the Greys were to give Eisenhower and the United States, a few other countries, was supposed to give them some sort of information. And I can't remember what the quid pro quo was on this, but they were supposed to give some sort of information or gadget or something. And I think I might remember what it is. But in return, he gave us away for their experimentation. Exactly. In return, Eisenhower said he could, they could, for examination, abduct us here in the United States. But there's a caveat to it. They had to tell our government who they wanted for how long. And so the gray aliens started doing that, and then after a few, they were like, fuck it. Because, let's face it, they're more powerful than us. They really, truly are. We are not smarter than these aliens that are flying around out in space. So, but if I'm not mistaken, Barbara, wasn't it communication that they were to show how to communicate with aliens? Now, what's interesting to me is that after Roswell crash, technology just boomed and boomed quickly. I know that it did, and this is why nobody can tell me. There is also a story that there was a battle in a secret underground base between Greys and soldiers. I do not remember. There was a slight one. Yes. I remember that story. But with that information that came from that wreckage, and I keep freezing, I'm sorry. Go out and come back in, Barbara. See if that helps. Because I haven't shown that I've frozen yet. But after Roswell, there was two. There were two ships. And that they do have and have found documentation, which my Uncle Gary already knew and told me, and everybody seems to know here in Central High, that there is government documentation that was declassified and they got whoever got a hold of it, and there are parts of that ship. And at one point, they believed one body that was over here at the Dayton Air Force Base, where the museum is. And if you go to the museum and you go to where the Air Force Base is, you can't get in that Air Force Base. You can't get in that bit. They will shoot your ass. You will not poke around. You can't. They will get you. Everybody knows it. I don't even want to know if anybody's tried it. I really don't. But I know Gary was sent there because of what he did. It was work with lasers and shit. And he was sent there to work on a specific thing. And the most he could tell me was, and this was in cahoots with Japan, he went there for a week, and the shit he had to go through just to get to his room. His little room. Which was recorded the whole time. But the only thing he told me was that they had a laser that was no thicker than a strand of hair, and somehow he did something with his laser and put a hole through that laser that was smaller than a strand of hair. And that was all that he could tell me what he did. All I know, but I do know of all the security checks he had to go through just to get to his room. And he had clearance. Nobody at Dayton in this area where Gary went, apparently, from what Gary said, nobody was working together that he saw, that he himself saw. There may have been, but what he saw, everybody had something to do, and he only saw other people on 2 different days, and that was it. He was alone that whole time. And so, and I do like the Dayton Air Force Base. I really do. I like their, I like the shows, the air shows that they put on there, and I love the museum and stuff. It says they were, Barbara says they were Nordic aliens, true, and the promise was for superior technology and spiritual wisdom if I would get rid of the nukes. Later, he met with the Greys. He met with Eisenhower met with the Venetians. They could use us for medical experiments. Exactly. He met with the Venetians, and they were wanting to exactly the superior technology, this spiritual wisdom, and they could cure all of our diseases. We wouldn't age as quickly. This and that. Now the Nordics were there, believe it or not. They really were. But it was the Venetians at first. Because that guy, what is his name? It was like an open secret. But he was involved with our government for over 20 years. And he never grew old. He stayed the same age. Now the Nordic ones, they were taller. They weren't the tall aliens, but they were over 6 feet tall. Um, or it says the Nordics are afraid we will explode our own nuke technology, thereby disrupting time and space. Um, yeah, and they, of course, I'm looking at it this way. Um, why are they all so interested in Earth and human beings? It's like we're a novelty to them, for real. Like we're a novelty. But there are several species of aliens that seem to want to protect us, and then there are several species that want to annihilate us. I really don't understand their interest in us, because even if, say, even if we did, if everyone on Earth who had nuclear weapons exploded them, I don't see how it's going to do anything to time and space. Professor Michael Sala is the top person investigating this, per the Post. It's been investigated 80 million times. But because if you really look at it, even in our own galaxy, you guys, in our own galaxy, and I'm going to have to show visuals, but we are nothing more. We are no bigger than you take a sharpened pencil and just put ding, on a map. And that little itty bitty teeny dot is us compared to the universe. We're not even close enough to the black hole that's in the middle of our galaxy that we spin around. It's a dormant black hole that we actually spin around. It's dead. We're not even close enough to that, or even have a match big enough to get that thing energized. It's going to take something bigger. It's just we just don't have it. But there was the Talls. Of course, you have the Nordic ones. You have the Venetians. There's about 4 other species. They just want to protect us. Nordics have white hair, pale blue eyes, and colorless lips. They live in another solar system. Exactly. And you guys take note, there are several species that do have white hair. You just got to pay attention to all the other distinguishing marks, like the pale eyes, pale blue eyes, and the colorless lips. You have to be able to distinguish. Right here, a celebration to last throughout the year. Aussie Flag, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the lounge. So you will have to learn to distinguish the characteristics of these aliens. Now, those that don't believe, they're like, oh, screw this, they're not. But do you know how many people have risked their lives? Do you know how many people that have worked? This is why nobody can tell me that there are no aliens. And it's because of my granddad. And those that don't know, um, my granddad, after Roswell, all he's ever done, he worked for our government, and then he left, went into the private sector, just for his company to be hired by our government to go back doing the same shit he was doing before, and that was reverse engineering. He said, "Where do you think I got the technology from?" I was like, "Huh?" Because my granddad, before he passed away, he was just letting it all loose. Letting it all loose. Interesting enough, after he died, they sent us just a box of his personal effects. And I was like, "Mom, we got his Purple Heart. Um, he was shot up pretty bad in the war, Korean War. Um, and his other medals and stuff, and pieces of jewelry and things." I was like, "Is this it?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "This is the only thing that came?" "Yeah." I said, "Where's all his books and notebooks?" And Mom said, "What notebooks?" I said, "Granddad kept notebooks, Mom. He had books, and he had his own, where he wrote his own notebooks, his own notes. He was telling me about them." And I said, "Do you honestly believe Granddad, who owned, I don't know how many apartment buildings, owned several homes, cars, and this?" And I said, "You just get a box when you're the only heir?" I said, "Really?" They were all gone. She called down to his brother-in-law, his wife's, who passed away, brother, and he said, "There is none." And I said, "Mom, yeah, they're down there." And he said, "There was nothing there." And he just assumed his sister, granddad's sister, came in and did whatever she wanted. And I said she didn't have a key to that one. She had a key to the one that he was at, not to this one over here where he visited. So, definitely, I know someone who claims to have been abducted a few times and can now speak their language. They are not the over friendly ones. Yeah, there are some that are just the gray aliens. I don't even know why they want to experiment. And don't you think after umpteen billion trillion years, or however long, 80 years, or even longer, if you recall some accounts, if you listen to them, back several hundred, up to 1,000 years ago, um, if you read articles from the French, German, Spanish, um, English writings, they saw this shit and they wrote about it. And so, and they made paintings. Um, so, if you ask me, I don't see the big deal of not just coming out and saying it for real. I don't see. If you look at some Renaissance paintings, there are saucers in some. I got my visitor pass for one day at the hospital. One day. Every time you go there, you gotta get one of these. They stop you right at the door. Total theory here, says Lady Witch. No facts at all, but maybe we are cast-offs and they are examining us to see how we turned out. Could very well be. Could very well be. Who knows? We really don't know. Who truly knows? I'm going for a COVID test tomorrow. Ooh, I hope it's negative. I hope it's negative. Of course, I got my bracelet. I'm like, really? I'm just here for a test. Just gotta lie down. Yeah, you guys, now that I think about it, the MRI machine, my granddad knows how to work them damn things. He said because I was one of the ones that helped put that damn thing together because it used his technology that he reverse engineered. Me too. 2 family members are positive in quarantine. Ooh, man, this is not the time. Holidays coming up. Oof. So, you know, I hope that whatever it may be, I thank the Lord that I have not been abducted, even though, you guys, honestly and truthfully, I've seen the UFOs several times. I was told if they came back one last time, they were taking my ass. I was like, probably. But I do know this. The second time I saw, first one was a singular. The second one was an armada. There was 13 of them things flying right over 79. And I was walking my mom's dog like 10 o'clock at night. And I was house sitting and dog sitting. So me and Casey started walking up the street. And something just told me to look up because Casey was, the way he was walking, it was like he was looking at something. So I looked up and I didn't see anything. And then I looked up a little further and I was like, I just stood there. And Casey stopped, I stopped. And we just stood there, and I know my jaw was just boom. I have not seen any, thank goodness. This because there was 13. I counted them, and it was like they went across the sky, and it was like they went behind this black curtain. And it wasn't trees because when you get off the street on the right side, it goes down a hill and the trees are all down. And they were up here. And so I was watching them and I was watching them go behind what looked like this black curtain. It was like they just had a line and it would just disappear. And they weren't flying fast. I mean, they weren't zooming. They were just going around, going across, like no big deal. And it got to the last few. And I just said in my mind, you guys, I said, no, wait, stop. And one did. And it scared the shit out of me. I picked Casey up. And I booked it back to my mom's house. This is how 10 o'clock at night, I called down to West Virginia where my parents were at. Mom, you're not going to believe this. I told her everything. I said, Mom, you're not going to believe this. I told her, Mom, she's like, Les, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I said, I don't know who to contact. She said, call the police, see what's going on. I said, all right. I called the police. I called the non-emergency number. Dispatcher answered, and like I said, it wasn't an emergency. I just called and I said, yes, my name is Leslie Kane, and I'd like to know, is there any air shows going on at the airport tonight? She says, no. She said, can I help you? And I said, well, and I told her exactly what I saw. And she said, do you need the police? Do you need an ambulance? No. Are you injured in any way? No. But I said, I just saw a bunch of red lights moving across the sky over 79 and just disappearing. Well, do you need an ambulance? No. Would you like a police officer to come and check you out? No, I'm fine. I just want to report it. Okay, I will let them know. You have a good night. Click. I called my sister, woke her ass up. I called my friend Michelle. I forget who the other one called. And I was like, Michelle, especially Michelle. I was like, Michelle, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe what I just saw. Sure, my sister was like, yeah. Michelle, she was like right on it. She said, you're kidding. I said, no. And she says, I already took my medicine or else I'd come over. And I was like, it's all right. I just had to tell someone. And so I took Casey back outside. I had his leash on him still. Took Mom's phone and we sat on the front stoop. And I was like, Michelle, just stay on the line with me in case they come back and I have to run inside the house. Michelle said, Les, they're aliens. What good is it going to be? What good is it going to be you going inside the house? They can get you. I was like, thanks a lot, Michelle. I would have shit myself. Never talked to strangers. I would have bawled, asked questions later. I would have bailed, asked questions later. Says Lady Witch. That was the second time I saw him. The first time was the singular one. You know what? I tell you what. I'm sick and tired of these calls. As you have earned a reward for being a valued AEP customer. We don't have American Electric Power. Sorry. Oh, we're looking for the owner of the vehicle that's registrations or insurance is expired. Which one are you looking for? It's funny. I just don't like this one. Like, well, anyway, the first time I saw it, I was over at Michelle's, and I was actually on the phone with Fran, and this was, God, super late at night, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And it was during the time where the country was out of electricity from freeze ice and everything. And so I was out back on the back porch. And that's where we kept the frozen stuff in coolers out on the back porch because it was so fucking cold. And we kept the refrigerated stuff in the garage because it was just a tad bit warmer. But the eggs still froze, but that's alright. We thawed them. I was sitting out back in the chair, had my foot up on the cooler, and I was just talking away, and directly behind the house was a church, a new church they just built, and behind that was a plant called Kaiser Aluminum. And behind, if you keep going straight past that, was the old Newark Air Force Base, which has been transferred into something else. And so, so I'm sitting there, and there's only 10 houses in this horseshoe. Well, no, 12. There's 12 in this horseshoe road, and she lived on the back side of the horseshoe. And I'm just sitting there talking this and that, and I looked up and I thought, huh, that light looks odd. So I wonder if it's getting ready to go out, because it was a white color, and then I saw little flash of red or whatever, but I never paid any attention. I just thought, oh, maybe it's getting ready to go out. Didn't think anything about it. And I put my head down, and I'm looking around, and I look up again, and I just froze. And that light that I thought was going out was not the street light that they had. It was a ship, and it was literally churning white and red in a ball. And when I looked up, it was a straight line. And it had the red and white just going, just going, just going. And it was straight up and down. And I looked up, couldn't hear a thing. It made no noise, none whatsoever. I had great vantage point of where it was at because of objects around it. It was low. It was just above house height, just above it. And I just sat there, and I'm like, and next thing you know, that straight line just went phew, and disappeared. I mean, fast as shit, and just disappeared. And I'm still on the phone going, so I'm hearing, Les, you're not gonna believe what I just saw. And I was tripping out. So I go running inside, and I was like, Michelle, you're not gonna believe this. I said, come here. So she said, I gotta smoke anyway, I'll come. So she went back, and because I didn't want her husband to hear. Told her everything. She said, oh, Jamie sees him all the time. I went, wait, what? She said, yeah, he sees him all the time. They're always back here. I was like, well, you could have let a hooker know. I said, I thought I was going nuts at first. She's like, no, what'd this one look like? And I told her. I said, just exactly what I told you. It went from a ball to a straight line, and then it just went and disappeared. I said, it didn't even make it to the church. It just disappeared. She was used to seeing them. That was the first time I saw them. That one tripped me out. The Armada tripped me out because there was 13 of them bad boys. The last one didn't trip me out so much. I think I was already by then. The only thing it did was make gigantic triangles. Not triangles, rectangles. That's all it did. I just sat there and watched it. Big old rectangle. And I haven't seen him since, and I haven't been looking. I'm scared to death. If I look again, they'll get me this time. I really do. So, but between my granddad and that, you can't tell me there's not anything out there. You can't. So, that's what I have to say. Interesting chat, Les, but I have to go make dinner now. Much love. You have a good night. It's 5 o'clock. I gotta start making something to eat. I'm getting hungry myself. I didn't even realize what time it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and go because I am getting hungry. And I'm getting tired, but mostly hungry. So I hope everyone, I want to thank everyone who participated, and I want to thank everybody who came, and Silver Star, take care everyone, you too, and I hope everyone really does have a great day and a great night, and I'm not sure if I'm coming on tonight or not. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So, but If not, I hope everybody does have a great day and a great night, and we'll talk later.